Hi, my name's Delisi, and I'd like to take a few minutes to go over the latest patch that just dropped for Diablo 4. Now, this is patch 1.41, and it has some very good updates to it. One of the first things that you'll notice is that the enchanting window now explicitly informs you that you can't re-roll a greater affix. Now, that's very important because it was noted in the beginning that greater affixes cannot be re-rolled when you're using the enchanting window, and that you'd lose the greater affix when you do so. This way, it's now clear in there, the way there's no confusion. Another good thing is that they've reduced the gold cost for masterworking. Ranks 1 to 4 are unchanged. Rank 5 has been reduced about 50,000 gold. Rank 8 has been reduced about 200,000 gold. And rank 12 has been reduced about 7,500,000 gold. Now, that's a huge decrease. And if you look at the developer's note, it says that we wanted to make the main push for masterworking to be focused on the acquisition of materials and less focused on needing the gold. We want to avoid the possibility of having the materials available, but needing to take extra time to collect the gold. Now, this is a very positive change, I feel. One of the tips that I gave in my earlier videos was to go ahead and sell anything that you didn't need. That one might have changed now because of the patch that they made. So I'm going to go through, and I'll probably do another tips video in a week or two once we get the full feeling of this patch. Another thing that they did is they now show the armor cap displayed in the stats. One of the things they mentioned is that there's not necessarily a hard armor cap, but an effective armor cap of about 9.5k. You'll now see what the armor cap is in the tooltip when you hover over the stats. So you'll know if you're close to it or if you exceed it and by how much, so that you can start focusing on other aspects of your masterworking and tempering so you don't have to spend so much time on your armor. There was also a surge damage from sorcerers and enhanced charge bolts was increased. And the note on that one is we investigated an issue where the surge from enhanced charge bolts was happening too frequently when enemies were tightly stacked together, which had caused performance issues. We also found that the surge damage was doing less damage than was intended, while the piercing static aspect was equipped. While fixing those two issues, and there's more detail below, it was decided that a 50% buff to the surge damage would compensate for reducing how often it procs when enemies are stacked together. Now, I've used enhanced charge bolts a few times, and I've noticed this was definitely the case in large groups. I would notice a slowdown in my computer performance, and I'm only running a 2060. So I think this was another positive change. Another good thing that they did was they increased the drop rates for scattered prisms. Now, for those of you who are not aware, scattered prisms are what jewelers use to go ahead and put sockets onto items. And the common tactic for season 4 was to go ahead and hoard them only for perfect or near perfect items, to go ahead and add those jewel sockets to them that didn't have them. Now that they've increased them, they've got treasure goblins are now dropping scattered prisms even as early as World Tier 1. And world bosses now always drop scattered prisms, and the amount they drop increases in world tiers. I think is a very positive change. I don't think you'll need to hoard them as much. You'll be able to throw gems on your gear a little more often. So I think this is a good thing. Also, they noticed that the Butcher will always drop a scattered prism on defeat. He can be a challenge sometimes. So having that little extra reward from him, being a scattered prism, will definitely make him worth dropping if you get the chance. Another one is reworked item stat comparisons are being more intuitive when the same stat appears on an item multiple times, which often occurs with tempered items. And developers know this one makes perfect sense. Previously, if you compared an item stats and it had a value appear twice, such as cooldown reduction, it would display those two values individually. We have now updated this to combine those individual values to only display one singular value, making it easier to compare stats across items. That's definitely going to make it easier when you're comparing items on how valuable the item is to you in your build. So I think this is another very positive change. And also the Whisper bounty requirements for defeating Hellborn has been reduced from 3 to 1. Mind you, they usually when you get the forces of hell very, very angry, you end up getting enough Hellborn to go ahead and deal with that anyway. But having that drop down to 1, I think, is also very good. Some of the bug fixes they did also concern the screen reader changes. It fixed an issue where blood-marked players could not send party invites to each other, which I think is a good thing, because for those of you who are doing PvP, when you're blood-marked, you want to take out as many other players in PvP, and that's also handier in a group. So being able to do that, I think, is a very positive thing. Fixed an issue where trading gold to gold cap would exit trade automatically. That's also a very good thing. Another good one here is fixed an issue where the progress section on the trial screen would fail to update when a new class completes the gauntlet for the first time on the same account. That's also very important when you're trying to work on the gauntlet. Fix an issue where Soday's dialogue was missing a line after defeating the Blood Maiden. That's part of the seasonal quest line. Fix an issue where greater affix icon overlapped with socketed gems. When you look on the item on the screen, there are some times where that icon at the very, very top center will overlap that top icon, especially on chest pieces where you've got the two sockets. So this makes it a lot easier to see that, and I think that's a very good thing. Some of these are minor. Fix an issue where tier 130 was incorrectly labeled as 131. Fix an issue where Helltide chests took 3 seconds to open instead of 1.5. That's something that needs to be fixed. PC only. They also finally fixed the series with NVIDIA 4000 cards, where DLSS frame generation was temporarily disabled due to stability issues. So that's also a very good issue there. They also fixed some Helltide issues, where zealots would spawn underground, where enemies would despawn after player death would still drop loot. Shouldn't do that because you didn't kill them. Where screaming Hellveins could be looted multiple times when in a party. Aberrant Cinders did not reset when logging back in to Helltide with a character that previously had Cinders. There was a little trick there to get away with having too many Cinders in the Helltide. There was an issue where damaging effect from Spires of Corruption did not match the visual effect. That's a very important change. And Hellborn Disciples spawned during a Blood Maiden encounter would count toward the Cull Hellborn Whisper objective. That was a nice little bug they had in there. That's a very valid fix. The developers know on that one is the Hellborn Disciples that spawn while fighting the Blood Maiden do not count as Hellborn in other contexts, such as the fact that they do not drop loot like a normal Hellborn. This changed to ensure that these enemies are treated consistently, which I think is very important. They did some changes to the pit, fixing the orb beams, fixing the issue where you could only interact with the obelisk if you had Rune Shards in your inventory, and an issue where Rune Shards could drop in World Tier 3 Nightmare dungeons and from the Seething Abomination in the Field of Hatred. They really should make sure that you don't start getting those until Tier 45 or 46 of the Nightmare dungeons. So having them drop in World Tier 3 or from the Seething Abomination in the Fields of Hatred, which is primarily a PvP zone, is a very good fix. There's some other fixes here about, like, for instance, Druid Spirit Boon's Overlord damage was physical instead of lightning. Aspen Alpha did not mark wolves and the werewolf skill in game. There was also some general ones where the cooldown, here's a very important one, cooldown reduction granted by the following tempering affixes were less for higher tier recipes. And they list several defensive, utility, and resource ones. So they'll go ahead and fix that one as well, because cooldown reduction, for instance, on my Arc Source or my Arc Lash Ultimate Currents build, I find that having a couple of stacks of cooldown reduction for my ultimate, and then adding in the flicker step, where every time you evade through a person, it reduces that further, is a great combination in order for getting you being able to reusing your ultimate currents. So I think this is a good fix, because several of these were needed in order to go ahead and reduce the ultimate cooldowns for other character classes as well. And there were some other various ones here. Fix issue where some legacy items had their affixes re-rolled during the seasonal migration. The intention of that change is that all stats on items should either be completely restored to what they were or get the maximum stats if previous values were unavailable. I think that's a good fix. And some of the last ones here down at the bottom, a little hard to read, so let me fix my screen real quick. Fix an issue where killing the Echo Limit did not reward a Resplendent Spark. Anyone who has killed Echo of Lilith in any season will receive a Resplendent Spark this season. In future seasons, you will have to defeat her to get one. This implementation is to retroactively reward players who have defeated the Echo of Lilith this season but did not receive the Resplendent Spark, which is a big fix. For players that have yet to defeat Echo Lilith this season, defeating her will still grant you a Resplendent Spark. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, you take 4 Resplendent Sparks, and you can turn around and turn it into any uber unique you want for your class. And you can get them from killing the Echoes of Lilith and several other ways as well. So this is one of the main ways they have for getting Resplendent Sparks, so I think that's a very valued change, and I think that's a good one to go through. And there's the various visual, audio stability, and performance improvements. Now, this patch, I think, is a very good patch. I think it's going to definitely improve the quality of the game. And the patch wasn't very long when I downloaded it on my PC. So, and I believe the patch is out now or will be out shortly for consoles. So go ahead and log in, get patched up, and get back to killing demons. Thank you very much for watching this video. And if you liked it, down below is please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's also a link down below in the description to my Twitch channel where I stream several times a week, including Diablo IV, and I have SWTOR Sunday, which is Star Wars, The Old Republic, and also has a link to my personal Instagram. So have a wonderful day, and we'll see you online. Bye-bye.